Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Bojack Horseman, which we'll be getting into today. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer
Hello.
and Sam Quattro.
Hello.
Today, Michelle, Sam and I are continuing the Overly Animated Podcast, Bojack Horseman Season 4 coverage, going episode by episode through all of Season 4, which was released last Friday. Today, we're talking Episode 5, Thoughts and Prayers. Check out all of our Bojack Season 4 coverage at overlyanimated.com, or search for us on iTunes or whatever podcatcher you've got. Search for Overly Animated Bojack Horseman, and you will get either our main feed or our Bojack-specific iTunes feed, where you'll just get these Bojack podcasts. Subscribe to that. Subscribe on YouTube, wherever you're listening, for our continued coverage. Spoilers for up to and including episode 5, but no further here. So you're safe if you've only seen up to episode 5, but we will be getting into first 5 episode spoilers here. So we've arrived at our topic episode of the season, I assume. I haven't seen past this. I don't know if there's another one, but, like season 2, we had the vegan episode with the chickens. Season 3, we had the abortion episode. And, I think this is our equivalent of that, our mass shooting, but it's not really about mass shooting. It's about like,
Control more.
Yeah,
well, it's a lot of things.
yeah. It's first of all, there's like the feminism and gun control aspect, but it's more like how media depicts gun violence. I would say. So like heavy topics getting into here. Definitely our most. I don't know. We've had a few serious episodes so far, but in this realm, Michelle, what are your initial thoughts on Thoughts and Prayers?
I really liked this episode, actually. I thought it was pretty strong. And I'm now that like we know that like the mom's like in the picture, like I'm really curious how the rest of the season's going to go, because it seems like a kind of season-long arc. Mm-hmm. Whatever is going to happen, it's going to be pretty big and juicy. But yeah, I mean, I really like the B plot and I like the A plot too. I mean, like, I feel like we don't know much about Bojack's dad, but it seems like his relationship with his mom is like pretty complicated. And we've gotten like a few snippets of her in the past couple seasons and just like what she was like. But like now I have so many questions, and I think like it's really helping us understand like why Bojack is the way he is the more we see of her too. So in terms of like understanding like plot and characters, I felt like it was a really good episode for that.
Okay, nice. Sam, what's your take on this episode 5?
I thought it was interesting to like split the plot like that between, this really, big encompassing debate over like gun control and, all the politics and nuances that go on with that. And like somehow there are nuances, whatever, as well as like, dealing with Bojack's mom's dementia and like, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think it's like a really like heavy hitter in terms of topic, in terms of execution. And maybe like the gun aspect was like felt a little bit like, meh. But I really like Bojack's side of the episode.
I think I'm the opposite on this one. I
really?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the Beatrice stuff. I thought it was fine, but juxtaposed with the more heavy-hitting gun topics and feminism that we were getting into, I was much less interested in everything involving Bojack, Hollyhock, and Beatrice. Although I did enjoy it because I continue to really love Hollyhock, so I think that she shined in this episode again. But I was very into the more politicized part of the episode. I thought that there were a ton of great lines. I think that, as usual with the show, the satire was incredibly on the nose. I mean, we have them stating their thesis statement many times in the episode, but that's okay. It's, they're getting into, things that no other show will get into. So, I really enjoy that. I mean, it's such a fresh take on Hollywood depicting gun violence like that, and then shaping it into tying it in with feminism and how that works, like the montage of like the California legislature and men talking about stuff. Like it's so brilliant. Yeah. I love all of that. It's so brilliant. So I was incredibly into that part. Like if the episode was just that, this would be like a top 10 episode for me. Like I think that it was really incredible. But the fact that the Beatrice stuff was half the episode, it wasn't bad. I thought it was actually good, but I don't think it necessarily enhanced the other things that were going on here. So like overall, I think it amounts to a mid-tier episode for the season. But I am interested to see where we go with Beatrice. I still continue to like Hollyhock and Bojack's interactions. I don't know. I just would have liked them to give the Princess Caroline gun stuff room to breathe here. I think that might have worked better for me.
I agree. Yeah, I think I didn't hate like the gun stuff. I liked it a lot. It just felt like, having these two plots run at once, where like both are like really important. It just felt like maybe you should have given like a Todd the B plot or something.
Well,
just like a wacky juxtaposition.
Yeah, it's interesting to have the gun stuff and then dementia plotline on the other side. Yeah, I don't know. How did that work for you, Michelle?
I mean, I agree. The thing with the gun plot, I really loved it, and I thought it was like so solid. And I do think maybe it suffered from being only half the episode. It's one of those things that like it felt so like accurate, like that feels like something that could really happen in terms of gun law legislation. It being an issue of like, oh, all these like women running around with guns now, can't have that. So we'll just no more concealed weapons licenses for anyone. Like that feels so real, and it makes me kind of sad. And it also, it's like, I love that Bojack does these kind of episodes, but it always kind of like, it tackles an issue and then it kind of like puts it to bed.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much more we could do here. And the fact that we only got half of an episode, we won't bring it up ever again, maybe, that kind of bums me out too. But like, the stuff they said about it was really on point.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that Bojack brings these issues up and doesn't really delve into them in too much detail. You could argue that the show is consistently getting into feminist issues. So on that side of it,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so on that side of it, maybe. But yeah, this feels like the abortion thing of we bring it up in this one in terms of the gun stuff. We bring it up in one episode, and it is kind of put to bed here. I think that. It does seem like open and shut case for them. They don't present it in a very morally gray light, but that's because, from the show's perspective
yeah.
and also from my perspective, these aren't, morally gray issues. So it's not something that the show feels the need to pull its punches on. And I think that that's been a big part of why. I'm only halfway through the season. I haven't seen beyond this, but I think potentially at this point, I think Bojack might be the most progressive show on television. I'm considering writing an article about that at the end of the season. I think that no other show gets into these types of issues. I think this episode only bolsters it between the Todd asexual stuff this season and, these gun issues we're getting into now with the abortion stuff last season. I think we fully approached, this show just being an incredible moral positive, like, on the world. And, even if we're not, gonna get too in depth into this topic beyond this, the fact that we're bringing it up and talking about it in this realm, I think it shouldn't be understated, is, incredibly atypical for any show on TV. It's just been an important part of Bojack for me. Like, I think originally Bojack's just like, okay, it's a pretty funny and smart show, but now it's like a funny and a smart show that also is incredibly important. It's like Rick and Morty is not in that realm, even if Rick and Morty is maybe more consistent than the show still, but it's just Bojack just seems, you could make an easy argument Bojack's better overall because it has this moral positive element to it.
It seems to be part of the show that's like pretty important to the people who are creating it and writing it, and I think it strikes a nice balance between like having like the main interactions of the characters and having like these episodes focused on certain elements, or just like throwing more. Like, I remember when the show came out, before I started watching, but I found an article about how they're like, oh, like this show has so many like interesting like female characters in the background, even if they're like animals, and like why'd you decide to do that? And their reasoning was kind of like, I guess, like, one of the women who worked on the show is like, oh, like, I see that, like, this person's, like, a male character, but how about if they're not? And the other guy's like, oh, that, like, never occurred to us. But, like, and it started, like, very not harmlessly, but, like, just, like, it wasn't a super intentional thing. But I think at this point, now that it's the fourth season, like, this stuff is, like, pretty intentional. And, like, the feminism that they put in is, like, very, very apparent. And it's done really well. Like, better than I've seen in a lot of places. But I do think while Bojack as a show is really progressive, it certainly has like particular progressive things that it really cares about talking about. But I don't think like, it can't cover everything. So for what it is, like, it's really great. But I don't think it's like the end all be all in terms of progressivism by any imagination. It's hard to place that kind of expectation on just one show too.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really great.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what you're saying, we don't need to get too much in this because I don't know if it applies to all of our audience, but a lot of it's hard to place that much on one show. I feel like
for sure.
I feel like we get into this a lot with Steven Universe. Like we expect this to be this progressive beacon, and it's not always everything we want it to be. And I think Bojack gets into a lot of areas that Steven Universe just is unwilling to do. Steven Universe is kind of like very passively progressive, and the show is very actively progressive, which is really working for me, especially as a nice contrast considering we talk about Steven Universe so much. Sam, anything on this topic?
I think you also have to think about comparing like Steven and Bojack, like the networks that they're on and the audiences that they're for.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
Yeah. I don't like that, getting into that too much. I think a lot of people use it. I think a lot of people use it as excuses, but
I know, but still, it's like, you got to go through like a certain amount of people, and like, different people have different opinions as you go higher up. And so I think Bojack definitely has more leeway in terms of that.
Yeah, I definitely think being on Netflix is probably very freeing for these content creators. So anyway, we can revisit this as we go throughout the season, but let's specifically get into the issues approached on here. So, Sam, what would you say is your highlight? Is there a highlight moment or thing that we get into in this episode that stood out to you?
So, I don't know. I'll leave the mass shooting for the wider discussion. I think the thing that really got me was Bojack and his mom and their relationship, and seeing that even as Beatrice is losing herself and losing her mind, Bojack still hates her and still wants to tell her off so bad, but she can't, and he can't. And especially at the end when he's talking to Hollyhock about it, about how there are so many things that he wanted to say to her and he can't now because it's not going to mean anything like that. That got me, and I can relate to that, as a person who has a rough relationship with her mom. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. Michelle, same question. What moment of the episode stood out to you the most?
Well, Sam pointed out a really good one. And I guess kind of to jump off of that, just when she's watching horsing around and she actually seems to really like it, that really surprised me. Because didn't she give him so much crap for it when he was actually doing the show? So that difference between maybe she actually did really like the show, but she never let him know that. And what would her motivation for that be? And just I don't know, his mom, Bojack's kind of not a great person, and his mom definitely isn't either, but I still want to know so much more about her and why she thinks the way she thinks, and why, because I don't think we can't really let her off the hook for an entire parenthood of just treating Bojack really awful, or at least what we've seen from anything he's told us. And I don't know, it's just so fascinating and so sad, but I feel Bojack is in a really bad place, especially after what happened at the end of last season. I feel maybe this mom arc is what he needs to get to something really deep about what's messing him up so bad, and what's going on with him. Because I don't know, I imagine the reason he didn't see his mom for so many years is because she reminds him of everything he's insecure about, right? She makes him feel like a failure, and she doesn't seem to really love him. And that's the stuff that really wounds him the most. So I'm just really curious to see how this plays out more, and just seeing them interact together, and the fact that she doesn't really remember him as he is, but as he was on the show, is just so meaty to me. So I think that's what stood out the most.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's great that was very effective for you too. I feel like I have less to say about that. So this is a good. We were getting all perspectives on this. Yeah. I would say for me, as mentioned, the standout moments. I think I'd say the first scene of the episode, just getting right into it with Lenny Turtledove back, J.K. Simmons back, and just everything with the Courtney Portnoy mistaken movie in the beginning. Yeah, the standout thesis statement being, "I'm sick and tired of real life gun violence getting in the way of us telling stories that glamorize gun violence." Yeah.
Why does this keep happening? Yeah, that was a pretty good standalone line. I also like the one about the the guy covering the mass shootings, he's like, I'm totally unqualified to cover this, but as a straight white male, like I'm gonna plow forward with confidence and assume I'm doing fine.
Yeah, that's another one of the best lines of the episode. That's a Ryan Seacrest type, and we've added a Billy Bush type to the morning show now.
Yes.
My God.
Very relevant to recent events. Yeah, loving it. I love that. And that line's so good. But as a straight white male, I'll plow forward with confidence. Yeah, it's great. That was another really good moment. And I think at the end, it's like we have this pretty service level take on Hollywood's glamorizing gun violence. It's not not the most original take, but it is very important to be said and satirized in this way. But then we also take it to an extreme and tie it in with feminism with Diane and just the whole montage with the legislature, as I mentioned, which ends with Diane being like, I can't believe this country hates women more than it loves guns. Really, I think an original place to take this this satirization. So I love how we tie it into two issues like that, and those are really the standouts, and of course them saying thoughts and prayers all the time. Lenny and
that was honestly pretty great.
Yeah, Lenny and Princess Carolyn.
You're especially hearing it a lot right now with the two hurricanes and all the natural disasters.
Yeah. It's
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I feel like there's again not necessarily again, kind of surface level satirization of how people are incredibly meaningless when they say thoughts and prayers and things like that.
Yeah.
But probably the most blatantly stated way that I've seen this point made. So I really appreciate that. I think also probably pretty similar to going back to season 1 with the support our troops stuff with Bojack. I feel like that's a similar thing.
Oh yeah.
Kind of meaningless platitudes that people say. So this show's definitely gotten into that before. Yeah, so we brought back Courtney Portnoy here with Mistaken, kind of a character that we talked about not super standing out too much in previous episodes. Sam, do you think she was better utilized here?
No.
You're a Mistaken hater?
Okay, I don't really get Mistaken because I never saw Taken.
Okay, well I haven't either, but I still get it.
I get it's a thing. It's just not funny to me. I don't know. I don't like it that much.
Michelle, what do you think of Courtney Portnoy?
I mean, I don't really have much of an opinion on her either yet. She doesn't. I mean, somebody like Sextina Aquafina is so iconic, but Courtney Portnoy, I haven't seen enough of her having lots of opinions or doing lots of things to consider her very notable yet. But if she's going to be, it seems like she's going to be utilized for the rest of the season, potentially. So, I mean, maybe we'll get more of her. I feel like there's not much to say about her yet, honestly.
I think I said this a couple podcasts ago. It would have been funnier if she was a real person.
Yeah.
That would give us something to play off of.
Yeah, interesting choice to make her now. I think she had her best moment this episode, though, with this line. She said, you always hear about mass shootings affecting other people's movie openings, but you never think they're going to affect your movie opening.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah. Of course, my thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families. Yeah, that was the first instance.
Thoughts
of
and prayers.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers. Yeah. I think that's her best take so far. So I really like that, and I love her in the Mistaken movie. And also, no, I think she was actually really good in this episode. Also with with that scene with Diane and her pulling out the gun on the skunk or whatever animal that was, and then going to her shooting range. Yeah. I think she was well utilized in the plot here. She's the type of character on the show. There's kind of a lot of just plot device characters on BoJack. I think it's one of the show's weak points, but at least she had some good takes here. So we'll see how Courtney Portnoy. And of course, there is more wordplay with Princess Caroline.
Sam's not a fan.
I don't like that. I'm with Amy Sedaris on that one. It's not fun or funny. It's just.
I think it's fun. I don't think it's particularly funny, but I think it's pretty fun to watch. I'd prefer it to
normal. Just hear her just rhyme and do alliteration.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I'm just afraid it's going to become more of a thing for more episodes. I thought it was nice for now, but it's going to be distracting if it keeps happening.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's gone on this long, but I think that's kind of one of the purposes of this character too. So Princess Caroline can launch into more wordplay with that. We also had in that scene with Diane, Courtney talking about her trouser maidens. I thought that was good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta have some of those. If you wear pants, gotta have some trouser maidens.
Yeah.
So you don't get wrinkles. Can't have that.
Yeah. The other aspects of we also had Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter in this gun plot line. I think we had some good gun satirization from Mr. Peanut Butter here as well. The standout line to me is he said, "But my officially stated political opinion is I respect the Second Amendment, but I think some purchase should require the barest possible amount of background checks." Pretty clear take on politicians and their views of guns today. Yeah. And then more hate sex with Mr. Peanut Butter and Diane after they yell at each other on MSNBC.
This is becoming a troubling theme.
That's probably not healthy for their relationship, right?
No, I mean, they're not talking about anything. They're just like waiting till they boil over and then having angry sex, which is not, I mean, it's not a long-term sedative, I imagine.
Yeah.
So.
And Sam is just
yeah, what did she say when they were having sex? What's the weird?
Fill my chamber with your powerful bullet.
That like does not sound sexy to me. That just sounds really weird.
Well, last episode she said, "Frack me, Mr. Peanut Butter, frack me."
I like that more because they were talking about fracking a lot, but this one was like, whoa.
All right, Mr.
Yeah,
Peanut
bullets
Butter
are
and Diane.
sexy.
I found that line very funny. Sam, you're just squicked out by this, right?
I don't need to know that they have sex. I mean, I assume, especially the last episode where we actually saw it.
I know that was really awkward.
It makes me feel weird. I mean, that's like animal people. Come on.
Sam, does this mean Diane's a furry? Is that what this means?
No, that doesn't mean that.
Is this world different? Is that why?
This world's different.
Okay. It is very weird showing it though. Like this is not.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Then again,
We've
Bojack
never
has sex all
seen
the
them
time.
had sex, right? We've never seen them have sex as a couple. Like actually seen it until this season, have we?
Maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do see Bojack a lot. Something's different about Mr. Peanut Butter though.
You see the dog.
Yeah.
Because we see dogs more than we see horses most of the time.
Oh, that
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's the reason.
Do you remember the part when she like rips his shirt open and he's just like filling up the whole frame of the camera and it's from Diane's perspective? It just did feel like, whoa, that's a dog. Okay. Wow.
And then you see a touch of
muscular
Diane's
dog. Yeah, it's like okay.
hip.
I can understand Sam. It was kind of disconcerting.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, yeah, so we'll track their relationship as we go. They were yelling at each other on MSNBC, yeah, so, I don't know, might not be good. Other parts of this gun plot line, this line from Todd, not much Todd here, but, Todd, says, I'm just saying if people have the right pumped up kicks, then maybe they can outrun the bullets.
Oh!
A very weird 5 years old take on the pumped up kick song in this episode.
Got a shout out to Foster the
Yeah, Foster the People. They haven't been a thing in a while, so.
I think
They're
they might
still
have like
relevant.
Are they?
their last album came out like 2014, I think.
Okay.
They might have made a new one since then.
There was a phase when I was into them, yeah, like when this song was relevant a while ago.
I still like them a lot. I
Okay,
listen to them
nice.
still.
This song's still very weird though, yeah, with the messaging. So interesting inclusion there.
With the pumped up kicks.
Yeah, speaking of weird cultural references, I love this line from Bojack. Seeing my mom is like seeing a Terrence Malick movie. Every 10 years or so is bearable, but more than that, and it starts to get annoying. I love that. I relate.
What are Terrence Malick movies?
Okay, you need to. I would say you need to watch one, but don't. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, but what kind of movies is he
They're just
making?
incredibly like artsy and like abstract. Yeah, like incredibly. There's like no plot, and yeah, I saw like Tree of Life. It was horrible. So there you go.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, there's my take on that.
Okay.
Fight me in the comments on Tree of Life being horrible, but yeah. So we mentioned the Billy Bush. It was a Ryan Seacrest type said that the straight white male line. Yeah, that's a really good one. And then at the end of I'll get back to the montage thing, but at the end we get with Lenny Turtleove. That's all we got after we took out all the guns, and it was just the H&M scene.
Yeah.
Does
Great.
H&M even have commercials?
I assume so. That's a weird.
I don't have a
thought.
TV.
Great movie, cut down in the prime of its life. Very sorry for your loss.
It's like, I'll be fine.
Yeah, says Princess Caroline. Yeah, there you go. Again with that. Yeah, I want to talk about this montage with the the legislature of it. After it's like, oh, we finally had one mass shooting by a woman. And then they're like, do women even know what guns are for? Like there's that. I was like, I don't feel safe walking down the street at night. Yeah, and then the congressional hearings on women and guns, because even one death from a female gun owner is too many. Yeah. What are my constituents supposed to do? Not compliment random women on the street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
The trigger is for a man's grip and temperament. All of that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that seemed.
It's all really on point.
It is.
Honestly.
Yeah. I was really feeling that.
I liked the beginning, like the first montage. I think it was like when Diane was writing the article and she was like reading it aloud.
Yeah. We forgot about it. Diane's writes her pro gun feminism article.
Yeah. I honestly really like the part when she actually goes to the gun range and like that like orchestral music's playing and she like cocks it and then she hits the target right in the head on her first try, which seems pretty amazing and questionable, but it's interesting though.
Yeah, I agree. The music choice there was really good. It's interesting getting into that territory with Diane, but then we like tied it in, I think, really well with the feminism guns there. So, yeah, I thought all of that really worked, and then at the end, it really gets there. And yeah, I can't believe this country hates women more than it loves guns. It's like you think the final message in this episode will be on gun laws, but no, we've turned it into a feminism message. So I love that. Yeah. Getting back into the Bojack stuff, I think my highlight is Hollyhock in this plot as I continue to.
She's so chill.
Yeah,
I love her.
Yeah, Michelle, we haven't gotten your take on Hollyhock yet. What do you think of her?
Well, I'm like halfway through season 6, and everything I've seen of her up to that point, she's just like she's lovely. Like I love that she's like kind of lazy and like doesn't want to do shit the same way Bojack doesn't. But like she's like a good person and she's like really chill and like she's very likable. Like, she seems very relatable. I love her. Yeah. I think she's awesome.
Yeah, by the way, we're not talking beyond the episode that we're watching.
Yeah, I know.
You said season 6.
Yeah.
I mentioned it, but did not get
it. It doesn't exist yet.
Okay, we got that. That wasn't the part I was talking about. Yeah, my take on Hollyhock was that I feel like she's is like great representation for like a really real type of person. Like a realistic body type and temperament and something you don't really see on TV these days.
Real people are boring.
She is not boring though. She's just kind of great and like kind of centering the like someone who's like as not centered as Bojack might need. Though I don't know if he deserves her, but I mean,
doesn't.
Yeah.
My highlight with this Bojack plot is Hollyhock going through the photo album with Beatrice, and then she's like giving Hollyhock like advice on her weight, and then she's like, when you go somewhere, don't like, walk, gallop, and then Hollyhock's like, ice cold, Granny Graham.
Ice cold. Yeah, she just kind of takes it in stride. Yeah. She like doesn't get upset. She's just so chill. Like I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I love ice cold Granny Graham in her voice. I thought that was really good. Sam, what other parts of the? I forgot with the gun plotline we had. They kept the Hurricane Sandy movie on the shelf about like.
Starring Sandra Bullock. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Sam, what?
Hashtag relevant.
Yeah.
Hashtag relevant.
Oh yeah, but Sam, what other parts of the Bojack plotline haven't I?
We got we got our fuck of the season.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Well, he's talking to Hollyhock, and he's like, blah blah blah. I don't know, like, if there's like one thing I could say to my mom. It was like in the middle of the episode, and they're sitting outside the old folks' home. Oh, he's like, if there's one thing I want to say to my mom, it would be "fuck you, mom."
Okay.
Blah blah blah.
Wow, I didn't even pick it. Yeah, that was our most subtle fuck so far on Bojack. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Most subtle fuck.
So
Bojack said our fuck of the season. Okay, I thought someone asked me on Tumblr. I said Diane, but that was my prediction. But okay, we got Bojack in here. The other
fuck you, mom.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thesis. I mean, I don't really know where the season's going yet. I haven't seen beyond, but that's my guess. That's what the thesis statement of the season is.
Yeah, I think that might be it too.
Well, you gotta think they brought like the whole like mom's backstory ish into episode.
Yeah, there's no reason to put an
that's
episode
true. And I actually really liked that episode also.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty great.
Yeah. So we got the fuck of the season. We also had Diane's ringtone of the season.
Oh yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah, all rings considered. Another NPR one here.
I think that's the only NPR show I've actually listened to.
I don't get any of these NPR references, but
That's mostly because the lady I was interning for would have NPR on all the time, and that was the show that was on at the time I was coming in.
yeah. So in the past, it was This American Life season 1, Serial season 2, Terry Gross season 3, and now we have All Things Considered. So this one went on for very long too.
Yeah.
We had Princess Caroline and Bojack calling Princess Caroline,
Just to find out
Princess Coraline to find out where the place is. So
You're such an asshole.
where the home
God.
is, and then he starts off with each conversation like really sincere, and then
He's like, anyway, he just totally kills it.
yeah, like why isn't Bojack? He's back after a year. Why isn't he calling these people? Yeah,
Yeah.
Because it doesn't want to.
yeah. I mean, he's still
To be honest, I am away from my home. But if I was away and didn't talk to anybody for a year and I came back, I probably wouldn't call anybody when I got back.
It'd be hard to know how to strike up a normal conversation.
Exactly.
Like, what's up with you?
yeah. I can definitely understand, but yeah, we'll track how Bojack reintegrates with all the people in his life. I think that's still an ongoing plot. In the beginning, we had the Bojack feeling bad about lying to Hollyhock, and we had that 3 times.
That was actually pretty good. Like for Bojack, that seems like a real progression. Like this is one relationship he's actively trying to not lie with, which is even though he messes up all the time, it's only a 15-minute lie. It doesn't matter. He's still progressing, and that seems pretty important for him. Any baby step for Bojack's pretty monumental.
Dead mom.
Yeah,
I like that line.
Dead mom.
Yeah.
Bojack gives,
And he ate the last fudgesicles.
He
Come on.
did.
yeah, obviously, yeah.
I would do that too, to be honest.
Yeah, who wouldn't eat the last fudgesicle? Yeah, Bojack gives the doctor at the nursing home the sandwich shop in Temecula number. So that was the.
Where is Temecula? Is that in California?
Yes, I assume.
I assume. I don't know.
None of us know our California geography, but yeah. Mr. Peanut Butter calling, saying Dianigans, Diane shenanigans, yeah, and then Diane's article, "A Handgun of One's Own."
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Not to Virginia Woolf.
Yeah. And then
Temecula is in California, by the way.
yeah,
Are you checked?
Sam
Yes.
Googling as we're
Good
going.
job.
Yeah. Oh, I like Hollyhock being like, "What's that thin hard book?" It's a DVD. It's a DVD
DVD
case.
Oh my
case.
god, she doesn't know what a DVD is. Kids aren't that
No,
dumb.
she's even
confusing.
more millennial than we are. She's like not.
DVDs, well, Blu-rays are things too. And they come in the similar case.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think the kids are watching the Blu-rays these days, Sam.
Nah, probably not.
I don't.
And the other thing I liked was the Bojack recounting the him walking in on his daughter's shower scene episode of Horsing Around.
That was so weird.
That is so
You
weird.
could only hear the dialogue, but it's well, now that you see me, you have to show me yours.
No,
He's like,
no,
okay.
no.
It's what?
Yeah,
That is
This
fucking
is supposed to be a full house. What?
it's like
Yeah.
somewhat believable that could be a real sitcom episode.
Yeah, no, for real. But it's the mom's
sexual
into
harassment. Is what that is.
it.
Yeah, I love just randomly
Indecent
throwing that in.
exposure.
Yeah, they're in the
Endangerment of a minor.
They were in the Cheers and Jeers column. We did not get Cheers. That was in the flashback. Yeah, they had a random flashback to when Bojack's dad died with Beatrice. So, and then at the end, we have it seems like Beatrice is moving in with Bojack. So,
Hooray.
yeah, we're at and then the moment at the end with "I knew how much you hated her." It's a very Bojack way of having a sincere moment, but it being really cynically stated, but the emotions behind it are sincere. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're further.
Also, Herb's former nurse was there. The bear.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the bear.
You
who
know the
only
bear.
speaks in bear.
maybe
which
it's
is
not the same bear,
awesome.
Sam. Maybe all bears don't look the same. Jeez,
No, it's the same bear.
probably is.
Sam is
Well,
sure.
it's like how all like cows are waitresses in this world. Maybe all bears
that's
are like
kinda weird.
elderly care. Yeah. Maybe it's a different one. Because we have the cow that had the tip now. And she said this cow likes getting tips. Yeah. So, okay. So, any closing thoughts on this episode, Michelle?
I'm really curious about Bojack and his mom's relationship moving forward. I'm also like really concerned, like not really, but like Mr. Peanut Butter and Diane, like something's gotta give. Like this is just culminating in a very concerning way. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like as long as Diane just never ends up with Bojack, it'll be fine. But I don't know. Lots of questions, I guess.
Sam, final thoughts here.
Thoughts and prayers,
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think this is like a good, not really almost halfway point, and yeah, I'm excited to see where we're gonna go with Bojack and Beatrice. So yeah, let's go. Let's push forward. Let's get rid of Courtney, please.
Oh.
Come on.
She could have been like Naomi Watts or like fucking
we
Emma
really
Stone or something.
We really need to bring Naomi Watts back.
If she was, yeah.
Naomi Watts was incredible, but I don't know. I guess I'm Courtney's number one fan here, and I'm medium on her. I just don't hate her.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought that the gun stuff and the feminism stood out to me. I think this is solidly the 3 out of 5 for the season so far, behind episodes 2 and 3, but above 1 and 4.
That actually
I'd
seems
agree.
pretty fair. Yeah.
I think we're all kind of on the same page. Like, so far, I mean, I listened to Alex, Sam, and Steve last podcast. Like, I think the episode ranking so far is 2, 3, 5, 4, 1, or 1. You can switch 1 and 4 if you want, but 2 is a really standout one, and then 3 and 5 have also been great. So that's my take.
The people just don't care about fracking.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
It was inevitable that the fracking episode would be not as good. Okay, so let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments wherever you're listening, and make sure to subscribe to us to not miss any of our future Bojack coverage. Next, we'll have episode 6, stupid piece of shit. is
Yep.
that's what's coming up. So Alex will be hosting the next few podcasts, and then I'll be back to take it home at the end of the season. So make sure you, all that coming up on the Overly Animated Podcast. Subscribe to us for more. Consider leaving us iTunes reviews if you support our Bojack coverage. And the best way to support us is on Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, John, a.k.a. Garfield. And thanks to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Andy. Yep, we'll be back then. We also have a bunch of Rick and Morty coverage coming up. Probably a lot of crossover audience on the 2 shows, and it's time for the Rick Lantis mix-up episode. Although this might have been coming out after that. So, regardless, check out that recap. So, overlyanimated.com for all of that. Thank you guys very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thoughts and prayers.